And we're going to go live on Facebook.
Mhm.
You should make that as the intro. Like,
We're going to go live on Facebook.
You've been practicing your
Look,
singing.
people will be like this. Don't sing that anymore. We're tired of it. We want to be in person, not on Facebook.
Live on Facebook. Sister was cooking last night on the webinar.
oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Cooking in her kitchen, man, putting a power bowl salad together, man.
Yes, so we hope to do something together in person, because I think we need to remember how like cooking is together. I mean, thinking about the pandemic where we were all on timeout.
Yeah. Sure, they were showing how eating a fresh fish could be like drinking a month's worth of contaminated water.
Oh my God.
I was like, whoa, man. I was like, God.
Wow.
I guess the
Don't pick that as your Powerball meal.
Thinking of fish living in the contaminated water. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I'm going straight.
Don't pick that on for your Powerball meal.
I'm going straight Alaskan salmon from now on.
So we are live on Facebook. We were just talking about our Mind Health Shop talk last night. Thank you for joining us. I know people will be popping in. We told everyone there's no registration. We heard the feedback. People are tired of registering for stuff. We have one person on with us.
Okay. So we
Thank you for joining us. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I mean, we'll wait a few more minutes, or should we? Let's wait a few more minutes.
Okay. Yep. And the cool thing with this is that we'll also have this to send out to our friends that we want to register for our training. They can hear all about the work that BMHA and Dr. Bruce is doing in the community. So that's the great thing about having the online platform and doing the introduction this way.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I got a couple of messages saying that they clicked it, but it didn't take them to the link.
It didn't take them to the link. So it's on BMHA's Facebook.
Okay.
That's where we're going live from.
Okay.
Dr. Bruce has such a loving community that support his work.
Follows. He's an influencer.
Yes, Richard, you do as well, but it's like you don't even like try to tell people on your social media. You're like, whatever, and they still show up.
I know I gotta get back out because I did a year off of it.
That's good.
Off of it just to recalibrate.
Yeah.
It was and so now I'm a launch back on intentionally, kind of kicking this message of healing in love, and letting us know that we really do love each other. Don't let anybody make you think that we don't love each other. So I look forward to that, because I think that's that main piece. Like, I don't know why like we would ever believe that we don't love each other, all that we've been through.
Yeah.
That's the programming, brother. You know, we talk about the programming. The programming is unyielding, 24/7, 368. I mean, they added some more days to the programming, man. We can't escape the orientation, the frequency. You know, you refer to it sometimes as the frequency.
Yeah.
And if you don't turn that dial, then you are locked into it, and you start to believe what you hear. And you think it sounds good, you think it's normal. So we are in that space.
Yeah.
Why don't we just go ahead and just start our conversation? Roxanne, you want to say something first, or are you okay?
No, I'm good. I just wanted to say that Teresa says love more. Teresa D. Adams.
Okay. Hey, love more.
Oh, Shanae is on. Louisa Harrell is watching. Thank you guys for joining us for a midday educational renewing our mind session.
All right, hey, that's a lot of pressure. We hope for it to be that. That's right. That's right.
And we appreciate you all joining us. Again, we only have a few minutes today to really talk about what we believe is a critical topic, in the trilogy of healing and transformation series that we are really trying to lift up, especially at the beginning of this year, the importance of home, the importance of families, and the importance of relationships. If we can basically work on not only reimagining, but really redeveloping those structures and those centering ourselves around those foundational structures, family, relationships, and home, then we think that we will be on the path to really healing, a path of healing, spiritually, psychologically, physically, with all spheres, of our humanity. And so that's what this introduction is going to be about this afternoon. Of course, there will be a much more, a deeper dive next week or next Wednesday from, I think, 2 to 5. Dr. Purnell will be back with us for a training, one of those deeper dive trainings on this topic of, returning home. The optimal mental health of our people, we believe, began first in their homes. And so we're going to have just a open dialogue this afternoon. It's not structured in any particular way, but we will highlight some of the important points that Dr. Bruce will speak to or talk about in his training next week. But we want to really engage you, if you are so inclined, to really talk back to us about why we need to center ourselves on this place we call home. By the way, my name is Richard Rowe, and I am, the training director for the Black Mental Health Alliance. Some of you know me. Some of you may have heard about me. I'm not on the most wanted, FBI most wanted list. So you may not have checked me out there, but I am a sole and longtime supporter of this great organization we call the Black Mental Health Alliance. So I want to thank, our executive director, Andrea Brown, and Roxana, who is our everything person to really keep us on the straight and narrow. But this organization has been doing some critical work for the past 40 years, you all, 40 years. In fact, this is the year that we will celebrate our 40th year. So we are on a road to 40 as we speak, and there will be a number of announcements about what kind of activities that we will be rolling out, over the next few months leading up to our culminating event sometime in the fall. But there will be a number of important events. And if you haven't checked out our newsletter, please do so, because it lists a lot of the trainings that we are sponsoring, some of the other activities that will take place. And so if you're not receiving that newsletter, then it tells me maybe you may not be a member. So this is a call to everyone out there to join our organization. There are many levels of membership, and we would love to have you as a member so that you can always receive the information that we send out once a month about our trainings, and again about the work that we have been doing for the past 40 years. So without further ado, you all, let me get right into our conversation. And again, if you have any thoughts or any kind of concerns, please, I think you can share them. And I think Roxana will be able to share those comments with Brother Dr. Bruce and myself during this conversation. But Brother Bruce, you and I have had, I can't, and quickly you all, I don't think I need to really introduce this giant. And I'm not going to take much time introducing him because his work speaks for itself. But Dr. Bruce Purnell, I've been referencing him for the past couple of minutes. He is the founder and executive director of a community-based nonprofit organization called the Love More Movement. Just think about that, the Love More Movement. not hate more, not discourage, not deny, but the love war movement. He is about lifting up love because he believes that love can overtake. As Dr. King reminded us in many of his speeches, love can take over, hate can basically push hate to the side. And so we know that love has a mighty purpose in this world. We basically need to do everything we can to return to a love space. And that's what Dr. Bruce is all about. He is a psychologist, by the way, an author, an artist, a speaker, and community activist. He is a direct descendant of the Underground Railroad conductors, station masters, freedom fighters, and educators. And like his ancestors, he has dedicated his life to creating a world where love, joy, peace, hope, purpose, equity, transformation, and liberation are lifestyles. One of his affirmations that I always lift up whenever I'm doing a training, he says, we have to love as if we've never been hated. Sit on that for a minute. Love as if we've never been hated. So Dr. Brother Bruce, welcome, sir. How you doing, sir?
Doing well, man. Especially within this energy of transformation, and that's what we hold in space like right now to talk about healing home, and that conversation with you. Actually, you had the kind of last part of this simulation. It all came together when we had that conversation about like how important it was to heal home. I was like, yeah, that's it, because as we move forward, when we look at our foundation and what we're coming out of is that if we don't get it at home, where are we going to get it? Where are we going to get it?
Right. And if we don't get it at home, Bruce, again, we've got to, center ourselves and decide that is where it starts. And it may not be profound, may not be, but for those on this call right now, may not be what you might call revelatory. I mean, it is revelatory in many, many ways. But to some of you all, we may be speaking to the choir. But there's a piece that I put forth, Brother Bruce, about this need to return home. Let me just, paraphrase some of what I wrote, and I want you to chime right in and basically let's just carry this conversation, because we've had some spellbinding conversations, man, over the phone over the past few weeks, man. And when I shared this with you, you said, Richard, this is powerful. This is right in alignment to what I've been trying to lift up and what you have been lifting up. Not trying, but what you've been lifting up. And you have been writing about this and talking about this in many, many venues. And so I was so glad to know that we were on the same page in the same book, in the same paragraph, brother. So again, it was powerful. But one of the most sacred institutions that we have, you all, is the home. And the home influences almost everything that we do. The home should be the first safe and brave space, and Dr. Bruce will talk about that. The first safe and brave space. Healing begins at home. Healing begins at home. Self-care begins at home. Dreaming begins at home. Seeing and valuing one's humanity begins at home. Love-centered activities take place in the home. Building life-giving relationships start at home. Learning how to be resilient in an unforgiving and toxic environment is taught at home. Embracing hope and the obtaining of faith is instilled in every family member in the home. Honoring and celebrating Black cultural artifacts begin at home. The values, the norms, the practices, the rituals, the ceremonies, and structures a people practice are first learned at home. Brother Bruce, talk to us about why the home is so critical and so important, sir.
Yeah, man, just like and I mean you covered it comprehensively, but that we hear a lot when they say hurt people hurt people. I say love people love people. Love people love people love people, like, and ends up being that, like, so whatever's going on in the street, because we got to deal with home before we deal with the street. You may have had the power to the shift the vibration of a environment, but you can wrap love and support and nurturing around at home. And enough homes do it, you're actually going to reshape the community. But if we follow another vibration, and you got to think like, really, this can't be our narrative. This can't be the narrative that we have written, and the way our strengths get weaponized, and that oppressive energy is, it knows all about us, like, so the idea that for example, we talk about going from soul to trap, and it may sound cliche just because it's so quick. Oh, we went from soul to trap in my lifetime, but the power of having spirit connected to us in our labels and how we label ourselves, right? So we're soul brothers and soul sisters. We listen to soul music. We eat soul food. We watch Soul Train. Like, it's spirit, that weaponized piece. And somebody say, oh, you don't have no soul. Oh, wow, that's a negative. Like, soul was a positive. So without us even knowing it, it's not in our language anymore. And we don't understand the importance of it. And even think about the Soul Train line, psychologically, right? Everybody gets the opportunity to come through the center and be seen. And I spit a side boner, right? To actually, I see, right? Everybody gets to be seen and have their moment, whether you could dance or not. Even if you're shy, you can just run through and put your hand on your face. The children to the elders. That's a part of our ritual, and that was a part of our dance. And we gave it up to the Nene was like, watch me do it, watch me do it, watch me do it. Look at me, nah, it's not the group. It's like, nah, it's all of us. It's not just individualism, right? So the idea of understanding it, right? And that's why I like this training. So the simulation is to really understand, what trauma has done to us. And so it's going to be staged like on a yellow brick road. And the reason it's going to be on a yellow brick road, for one of us want us to understand that if you're on a yellow brick road, you're running away from home. Right? Or you wouldn't even be on it, right? You're on it because you're looking for something that you didn't get at home. And
I'm gonna interrupt you, but think about what you just said. If you're on a yellow brick road or any road that's basically moving you away from home, that spells trouble, brother.
That's right.
That means that something did not take place in the home. And we really want folks to understand why this is so important, so critical, that we basically focus attention on this first institution now. Because again, a lot of us are coming out of this institution with some deep emotional wounds. We're coming out of this institution. Some of us, forgive me and forgive us if I'm over generalizing, but again, we're not saying that everybody, but a lot of us are coming out of this most sacred, this sacred institution home with some deep emotional wounds, something that we just didn't get there, that basically made us feel loved, respected, and valued. So that when we encounter anything external to the home, that we are at least ready and that we are prepared to really confront it and to deal with it and to not let it overwhelm us or not let it take us out. And that's happening. A butterfly is not a butterfly in the beginning, but he's a caterpillar in a cocoon. So you can equate it to that metaphor of a butterfly, in terms of stages. First stage is that home, and we have got to basically decide to do what? You talk about, strengthening the home's infrastructure, Brother Bruce, and I know I want you to get back to Yellow Brick Road, but I want you to stay for a minute, in terms of what you mean when you say support the home's infrastructure. And you also lift up an African proverb that says, home is not where we live, home is where we belong.
That's right. That's right.
So speak to that, brother. And then I didn't mean to take you off the Yellow Brick Road, but you can get back to that.
That's right.
I want you to continue yourself on these powerful statements, man, that you have lifted up.
That's right. So even like the vibration of home is the sacred Like I just don't know that the it's in home. Like the origins is it's a sacred origin, right? And as you speak about the cocoon, and that's where we enter our cocoon, because it's that brave space. Like you're vulnerable enough to go in and develop, and that it's going to be protected, right? And once that's broken, once that brave space is broken, then like you said, I'm looking for love in all the wrong places. So like, fortifying that piece is everything. And we want all of our parents to understand the importance of it. We just even in conversation, like knowing that children know that we are excited about what butterfly they are to become. We're excited about the cocoon. They understand like the importance of them developing, like what that means for themselves, the family, the community, and their divine calling. And if we don't get that, we had the cliche of looking for love in all the wrong places. Because we gotta get it somewhere. Like, if you're meant to be a leader, you're gonna lead something.
That's right.
But if you don't have the opportunity in your home to be nurtured that way and supported, and there's nobody that really is looking to see what your divine gifts are and connecting you that way, then you're going to be on a yellow brick road. Like, so the importance first is developing that infrastructure. The importance of it, because when we lose it, we've lost it and then have to rebuild it. But also the good news is that love has the power to transform every other energy. It's something special about love. That's what our creator just did it that way. So whatever's happened in the past has happened. It can be transformed through love. So it can't be that, okay, dang, well, it's gone for me, so it's too late. It's not to it. We got to know that we can today, we can subscribe and commit to loving and healing, supporting. We always say atone, forgive, heal, grow, thrive, transform in that order. Like, because first, before we even start, we got to atone for our transgressions. Then we forgive, right? That's a humbling process. Once you go through, say, nah, me too, right? Me too. Nah, but we together in this. I'm atone, forgive, then we heal, and we heal, grow, thrive, and transform. And that's our cocoon, that's our process. And we need it now because, like in every war, there's a social reconstruction process where it's repaired. Like after a war, you have a repairing. We haven't had that. Like even that, they call it the war on drugs. We got a 40-year war. You end the war on drugs, but where is the reconstruction process? Like where's the repairing from all that we've been through in this? Like, and we've never, like we just move forward without going through a healing process, and we got to heal. And that way we got to heal home. Like we heal ourselves, we heal home. Once you heal home, the community, like, so the community's okay if a home's okay. Because all the community is a bunch of homes together. Like, so, so.
We used to understand that, the power of what you just shared, brother. We used to understand that, but think about how many of us are running away from the home. We leave home early. And in fact, we leave home because home is not that brave space where we feel loved or where we are validated, where our humanity is lifted up and valued. So we are running away, and we think that that's success. We think that, you are, once you leave home, you are now on your way, and like you said, it's hard to get back. And so again, think about all the young people, there are many, many organizations today and national organizations that are now talking about screening children, whether as young as 8 years old, to address anxiety, to address toxic stress and social anxiety levels, increased levels of both. Think about that 8-year-olds, not just due to the pandemic and so forth and so on, but due to what's happening in the environment outside the home and the environment inside the home. Adverse childhood experiences, we talk about that a lot. Adverse childhood experiences, key to that acronym, ACEs, is adverse or childhood. So a lot is not happening early to really ground our young people, our children, in love, in transformation, in understanding and appreciating themselves. So, identity. And so all these critical things that young people need in order to edify themselves so that they are able to address the adversity that's taking place in the home. So again, home is where we have landed, where we need to basically return and figure out how to really, again, enhance that environment, what we need to do on a daily basis. All members of the family have got to be on the same page in that home, or we will basically lose out and not be able to fight the war that we know that we are in. There are many, many wars that we are confronted with, and we've got to basically make the decision to get everything we need to arm ourselves spiritually, psychologically, physically, all the things that we need in order to really be whole. We've got to basically get from home.
Yeah. We say we always use home base, like one of the metaphors. So our in our model, like we create healing stations, which is it's a home, like right until we can get into individual homes, like so a place where we can go and it's a brave space. But the home base is, and we said base is a brave, affirming, secure environment. And that place where nobody can get you out. So we use the model of when we played tag when we were young. Even if you were slow or whatever, if you got on base,
Right.
you were safe.
That's
Nobody
right.
can get you out. So it's like we talk to children today and say, well, where do you go? They don't have a place that nobody can get them out. There's nowhere they can go where they feel and that would be home. Right. And that's why we're like nomads searching for somewhere where we belong, like not where we live, where we belong. And that's how we end up on the yellow brick road, because we all looking for something. And then, but unlike Dorothy, who like in the classic story, the whole deal was for them to clap their, it was inside all the way. You just go home all the time. We escaping home. So by the time we figure out the wizard can't do it, we've been through everything, like all these different challenges to get to the wizard. Then we found out the wizard's an illusion. They said, we just go home. We click our heels, it's a nightmare, because that's unresolved trauma, because that's being at the healing process. So we have to heal first, which is, and that's kind of the simulation, like what are we healing from?
Right.
And with this, we brought in different characters, and like Medusa's one of them. And a lot of people don't know the real story with Medusa. We found out very few people know the real story. When it was a sister, truthfully, it was a sister, and she was raped by Poseidon. She was a priestess for Athena. And because of Athena's jealousy, and because she was a virgin, like, but she was beautiful, but because of her jealousy, she was cast and cursed. And in that, like, we understand that how many sisters that happened to? Like, we really understand, like, it's some pieces that we got to heal from. We have to understand, like, we were never meant to be the perpetrators of this piece, but whatever you don't heal from, you become a perpetrator of.
Right.
Find yourself in that position, because we don't understand, but we can release that, but we have to understand it to release it. We brought the Grinch on, and what if the Grinch was that just said he was Black? You know what I mean? Like, for real, the things that he went through, like, just being like, ostracized in the community for no other reason than the way you look. And to hold that kind of resentment. And how many of us hold resentment, like, for, what was done to us? So how do we actually heal from this, man? Like, because it ain't about them. It's not about them. Like, if we can release it, and switching the Grinch's story up a little bit, how got big, you figure out, dang, what about you all the time? It's about our healing. Our healing has nothing to do with who hurt us. Truthfully, like our healing, like we can come together and support each other and love each other and move past it. But we have to understand it first. And that resentment that we hold, because it turns into stress. It turns into the frustration leading to violence. It turns into paranoia, all the different things. And now they label it a mental illness. So a decade from now, they're going to look back at this history and they're just going to say we were mentally ill. That's what it's going to look like.
Right.
So anyway, that's a whole nother piece, but we need to think about what these labels are doing. So in the piece, so we took two characters. Initially, it was Little Man, his name was Manifest, but we brought Hope into it. So Hope is going to be a co-main character, which is the sister, like, which is his friend, because I want this to, I think this, because I know so much about being a man that I didn't include the sister as equal, so I had to bring that up. Like, so now it's Manifest, whereas Little Man and Cha-Cha, right? So, and which is Manifest and Hope. And if we heal them, we heal ourselves, we heal our families, we heal our communities. Like, and you're gonna find out in the simulation, like how that actually happens. But you know, on the yellow brick road, like we gotta get them off the yellow brick road.
Right? Because you say, brother, because you say going home is not an option. Going home is not an option, you all. So again, we are trying to really ground ourselves in the significance and the power of addressing the sacred institution we call home. And we have basically done something very interesting in this society where a lot of different groups, you know, value home, you know, and we do too. I mean, it's not like we don't, but I mean, given what we've been through historically and on a contemporary front, it seems like we have found a way to not, you know, see home as the sacred place to get everything that we need in order to move through the society in peace and harmony, and to really create and build solid, enduring relationships. And so this training that's going to take place next week, again, Dr. Bruce will take a deeper dive and lifting up some of the characters that he mentioned, but we're going to really, you know, through this trilogy of healing, again, we're going to keep lifting that term up because we, for some reason, believe that, you know, we don't deserve to take the time to heal from the trauma, from the historical dehumanization process that has taken place, through the historical domination process that has taken place, through all of these societal, you know, violations of our humanity, violations of our space, violation of our names, our homes, and our spiritual foundations. All these foundational things have been either violated or been dismantled or destroyed. And even through all of that, we've managed to really remain a kind of whole people to some extent. But, you know, again, we just see a kind of deviation from some of the most important things that we've got to basically, you know, return to, lift up, build up, and edify, and so that, you know, we have the best chance of surviving and thriving, regaining psychological fortitude, being strengthened by, you know, by our relationships and by, you know, the upliftment of our humanity and of our need for one another and to be in concert with one another. So this is what, you know, this conversation is really all about, you all. We need, you know, everyone who will be, who's on the call right now, everyone who will be attending the training to participate in helping us center ourselves, you know, back to this place we call home, which is critical for our survival, critical for our thriving and prospering in a society, again, that's continuing to do things to harm us and to hurt us, and in many instances to kill the Black body or kill the brown body. And so we are hopeful that you will, you know, participate and find this to be one of those important critical topics and one of those critical trainings that you need to be a part of. So Brother Bruce, you know, one of the things that you also, we talked about, you know, in terms of the home, brother, is that, you know, oftentimes we are confronted with all kinds of different energies, man. You know, we go down this yellow brick road. Take us down this yellow brick road, brother. What are we going to encounter if we leave home, we go on this yellow brick road. I call it the white brick road sometimes. You know, but we're on this road, brother. What are we going to encounter that will distract us? And that's what's happening too, brother. We are distracted by many of the things that you have already shared, you know, by, you know, the things, the external trappings. You know, we can do this, we can go here, we can basically participate in this kind of event and so forth. And all these become distractions and can confuse us and cause chaos, you know, and it can manipulate, as you sometimes refer to, manipulate this journey back home.
Yeah, man. This so in assimilation, the character that you just spoke to, or the energy you just spoke to, is going to be the Pied Piper. And and in the assimilation, the wizard hired the Pied Piper to maintain the frequency. And that's the only way you could have Oz, because everybody has to be on that same frequency. And that's what it is. Like, we have to understand that this is a narrative. In the worst physical condition in this country for Black people, we knew that we loved each other, and that's slavery. So in slavery, like, if whatever plantation you came from, you were accepted in to that community. And we just know in love, like, sometimes like we had no control over who was sold and what happened, but wherever you showed up at was home. And it was love and connection. You weren't the Joneses plantation beefing against the Johnson plantation. It wouldn't make sense, man. So the idea of this narrative, but in the story of quickly, in the short version of the story of the Pied Piper is that it was Hammed in Germany in the 1500s, thriving community, man. It was thriving so hard, but they threw the trash out the windows, and because of the trash out the windows, rats came. So there's infestation with rats. So the Piper came and told the mayor, like, we can get rid of the rats. And he's like, oh, well, okay, and we'll pay you so much. So he had this frequency, he paid the frequency, the rats left, were gone, they didn't pay him. So he said, well, you're going to pay. So he played another frequency and all the children disappeared. They begged him for him to come back. They said, no, you violated, so the Piper was gone. So when there's a violation, the Piper shows up and creates a frequency, right? And with this scenario, we're going to find out that our buy-in, like people who have been through so much, so buying into commercialism, buying into individualism was a violation to our ancestors. So to get out of this piece, we got to atone, man. We got to atone and understand like that violation is why we don't know where our children are. And under that frequency, the Pied Piper's playing, and we don't know even how to communicate with our children. Actually, we're going through other people to let them know how we talk to them. Like, I need to know how to talk. I mean, we can't talk to our own children.
Or that we fear our children, that we fear our children. But can you imagine a people who now fear their children and the elderly fear? So we are in a place, man, that is not healthy, not spiritually healthy, not psychologically healthy, man. And again, that has happened to us. And so we're still trying to figure out, well, what people keep asking, what's wrong with y'all? What's wrong with you, Black folks? But given all that has happened to us, brother, the fact that we are still here and still pushing forward is an amazing in and of itself, man. But go ahead.
The actual narrative is what we got to deal with and understand that, we didn't write this narrative. And because we haven't healed from all the pain, we looking to numb ourselves from the pain. So whatever's presented, is attractive enough to say, well, if I'm not experiencing this pain, it's a good thing. Which is like, we're just, we're wired to survive, not knowing that we're supposed to thrive. Our ancestors went through what they went through, so we would be thriving. Our children would be smiling, not trying to avoid the next trauma. That's not mental wellness, like living to avoid the next trauma. Like that's not it. Like, we should be excited about tomorrow, excited about our children's futures. Our children should wake up like it's Christmas Eve. Like, with that kind of excitement about life. Not this one day that they're going to get presents for somebody they don't even know. Like it's be a whole different narrative for us. And so we have the power to write the narrative. Like we just don't know that we do. Like we can write this narrative, and it's good for everybody. It's not against anybody. It's for us. Like it's for us. Like so that's what the whole piece is about, man. And the idea of understanding the importance of healing home, but understand what we're fighting, like, because it ain't easy, man. It's not easy out here, and we know that. We know, man, like really, like our children want to be popular, and the narrative controls what's popular. So the parents are fighting, man, for their children that hold some values. But when they go out, man, like this isn't cool. This is considered lame. So it's lame to do the right thing. So you actually deviant if you're doing the right thing out here. Because the narrative is shifting to something else. So we got to unplug from the narrative.
Right. And that's what this training is going to help folks do. How do we unplug from the narrative that has been overwhelming for so many of us? What do we? So we're going to park ourselves in the home and then figure out what should be that daily regimen, what should be that weekly regimen. If you're working with clients and so forth, and they are struggling with their children and so forth, the question that all of us will have to do ultimately is look in the mirror. What am I doing in this space that we call home to really make certain that I'm not doing harming and hurting, my children or myself? What can I do differently? What can I do to really make certain that we all are aware of what's on the outside, but we've got to basically be in touch with the inside. You know, we got to basically edify and bring hope back to the home, or make sure that hope is centered or anchored in the home. That you said something very, very important. You know, we can't send children out into the world thinking that their role is to avoid the next trauma. We can't send, you know, ourselves out into the world to think that that is the path to success. You know, if you can avoid the next traumatic experience, if you can focus on yourself, individualize all of this, and not understand that the home, because the home was all about the collective. And if we can't return to the power of the collective, that again starts at home. You know, we have sayings about, you know, don't embarrass the family. Don't do things that will basically bring harm to the home. If one of us is sick, all of us are sick. All these kinds of sayings that we used to have, proverbs and affirmations that we used to basically lift up, because we knew that the home was that first place that we were going to get everything we needed to be to thrive and to prosper in a world that continues to minimize us, devalue us, and demonize us.
Man, what if our children knew? What if our children knew they were loved and appreciated, and we were excited about their journey? What if they knew that as a baseline? So we say we have to start somewhere. So we start with our children. Look, I'm not gonna this is not about whipping you into forced compliance, right? Because even the term like whipping, where does that, we had to go to where that comes from and stuff. But the idea we're gonna love you into your values. Because you're gonna feel so loved in this, and you know what love feels like, then you're gonna move a certain way. We're gonna see each other a certain way. We're gonna talk to each other a certain way. It's certain things that go along with just what love looks like and feels like. What if our sisters knew that they were loved and appreciated, and we got your back? We know what it's a miracle you hit. It's all right. We're not gonna judge you. However you had to navigate past trauma, we're gonna support you right now. What would that do to our families?
And that you are beautiful. I mean, think about all the young girls, black girls who leave home thinking that I'm ugly, or that my hair is this. So again, all these things start there. So how can I love what you're saying about think if we were able to make our children feel so loved that they were excited about just being, Black, and being able to really understand and appreciate their surroundings. What's in your home? So again, we got to even talk about, what do you have in your home? Do you have more books or more video games? Or do you, so all that kind of stuff is critical for building an environment, because, does your home have a healing space? Is your home a healing space?
Yeah.
And getting back to the point.
How do I see you?
Precisely.
What does it take for me to see you as a future butterfly?
As a future butterfly, brother.
Yeah, not as a surviving caterpillar. As a future butterfly, what does it take for me to see you that way? What characteristics do you have to have as a chat? For me to see you in that, and each other, because the gift about being a human being is we can birth and go to a cocoon and birth gifts many times. So even our elders, you still have your life energy can actually create. Who knows what is left to create? So we are future butterflies, and we see each other that way. So we're excited, and we're protecting the journeys, and versus the caterpillar piece. Because we stuck behind the caterpillar, we just try to stay out of the way of the insecticide and anything else that might step on us and stuff. We just flying's kind of lame anyway. Who cares about flying? We ain't supposed to be flying anyway. We just live a good caterpillar life.
But this is so important, man. We only have a few minutes left, brother.
Yes, so many good comments on on Facebook. Diamond Petty. First, I want to give a shout out to Cheryl. She had explained what ACEs are. She also said in some cases we are in different frequencies. Dola Mike was saying love more family. Diamond Petty said many children are homeless based on how we grow up with the affirmations and values being shared in our homes. They don't get that today. Powerful commentary right there.
Yeah.
Louisa Harrell, she said, men and boys need to know that I think that they are beautiful and safe as well. This is one reason there is a deep disconnect between men and women. I just wanted to share that with you guys because people have been active on Facebook.
Well, all those comments basically speak to, again, the importance of this conversation and importance of this training, because the caller, I mean, the person who spoke to the need for young men to really receive everything that we're talking about is critical. Otherwise, these terms about toxic masculinity, I don't hurt, man up, and all these kinds of statements and so forth have harmed so many young men who basically have been seasoned to believe that their worth is not what's above their belt, but what's below their belt. Their worth, their self-worth, their manhood is linked to all the to things from the head only and not from the heart. And so that person is correct. We've got to basically do this work for our young girls, our young men, each other. The men in the home have to look in the mirrors and just check themselves out. The women, I mean, all of us are in need of healing, and all of us have basically got to do something different than what we're doing right now if we're going to really return to the home, which again, as Dr. Purnell has said over and over again, going home is not an option. We've got to return home, you all, and we got to return to a safe home, a brave home, a safe and brave place where we can really, really heal. Brother, in the few minutes that we have left, and we appreciate everyone who has chimed in and shared their comments and thoughts, as we close out, brother, as we get ready for next week's training, I want you to really, share what you believe it will be some of the other highlights of the training session. And that session in and of itself is not going to be the only session, because you all know we can't really get this work done in a 3-hour training. So there will be, and we've already talked about a series, that will basically take us to a certification, possibly to be certified, in this work, in this very, very important effort to really lift up, our homes and ourselves. So, Brother Bruce, as we close out, any more thoughts around this training and the things that we're going to be doing next week?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, and the goal is for it to be a deep dive into ourselves. So you're going to find, as you really get into being a life coach for manifest and hope, you're going to really find out like some things that we have to do and we have to discover and we have to release to make us whole. And just in closing, I would say, like, and it just know that we're valuable enough to love and be loved. We're valuable enough to atone, forgive, heal, grow, thrive, and transform. And we don't have to be extras in our own movie, because we're all stars. And that's why we go into this. Like, we're going this because we know who we are, and we have to release some stuff, and we'll gain some stuff to make us whole and to create those loving homes. Like, we have to love our way out of this. We're not going to be able to manipulate our way out of this. We're not going to juke it. We're not going to be able to, and we're definitely not going to be able to hate our way out of it or protest our way out of it. We got to love our way out of this. That's the only way out of this. By design, we got in, and by design, we get out, and that's love.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. Again, you all, I think we're in for a real treat. The training will take place next Wednesday. It will be virtual, and it will be a 3-hour session. You have to register for that training. So if you have any questions, please just, definitely make certain that you connect with the Black Mental Health Alliance about the training next week. Dr. Bruce Purnell will lead that training. It will be all about the home as a healing space, as a safe and brave space, as a space to transform ourselves spiritually, psychologically, physically, on all phases of our humanity. It's going to be one of those type of trainings that will also lead to another powerful training that will take place in February and beyond. And so this is where we are on the path towards total healing or maximal healing. And we are not going to apologize for taking that journey. We know that it's critical and important for our psychological fortitude. And so we hope that you will join us and be a part of this. Again, Dr. Bruce Purnell, thank you so much as always, rather, for your time, taking the time to really introduce us to a powerful conceptual framework, a paradigm, if you will, a different narrative, an important narrative that is life-giving, life-saving, and life-affirming. And to all of you out there who have been part of this conversation, we thank you. We are profoundly grateful to all of you who support the Black Mental Health Alliance, support our team. I think Cheryl Maxwell was on the call, and Roxanne, of course. Shania is one of our new staff members. And so, and if Andrea Brown is listening, I know that she was doing a couple of other things, but if she's on the call, we appreciate, again, all of her work and everybody else who basically is a part of that organization and those organizations that are doing this critical and important work centered on family, centered on home, centered on relationships, because they are all critical for our prospering in a society, again, you all, that has basically done a lot of harm on so many levels that continue to do harm to us. So we appreciate you all. Again, you can find out more information about this training by going to our website, and it lists the time, the place, and all that kind of stuff. And again, Dr. Bruce, you stay well, be safe.
Yep, we put the information in on Facebook in the comment section.
Fantastic, fantastic.
The link, the price, so check it out.
Okay, anything else, Roxanne, before we sign off?
Nope, that was it. I can't wait. I'm glad that BMHA staff gets to attend this training, because I think we all get better and build our homes better when we listen to people like you and Dr. Bruce talking about these topics. And we learn from the other people that are doing the training as well.
That's right. That's right. We appreciate everybody out there. To be safe and be well. And let's all be great, because
Be great.
Let's all be great. That's the energy that we really want to send out to the world today. Black folks, be great.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good one, everybody. Be safe.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
More.